This is Heart Rhythm TV. I'm Roderick Tong. Welcome to the Week 8, the CMS Cuts updates. It's been another busy week yet again. Many physicians and individually all taking matters in their own hands, getting on saveablation.org or meeting with their own congressional representatives. Capitol Counsel remains very active on the Hill and arranged a meeting last week with Representative Dr. Michael Burgess, who is actually from Texas, our senior physician in Congress, a past member of the caucus, and he really expressed his empathy for our plight, understanding for the drastic nature of these cuts and the need for both short-term and long-term solutions. Capitol Counsel and Heart Rhythm Society leaders with the task force continue to have multiple meetings, 47 in total thus far, and they've all been very positive. What's really been refreshing is the new understanding that a lot of these offices have for the value of ablation, the fact that we can eradicate or eliminate different heart rhythm problems and understand the data and understand the fact that this actually saves the healthcare system, all at the potential value of trying to save $300 for the different procedures. The ROI, which some people have talked about and a demonstrated understanding, may not pay off in the favor of what the US healthcare system actually needs. And most importantly, they understand that this will amplify racial disparities and disparities in access to these sort of ablation procedures that already exist. And it'll widen socioeconomic disparities as well. The ACC continues to work independently, advocating against these cuts and fighting for fair reimbursement. And EPAF and HRS have just recently formalized this week our alliance and collaboration on the PR and communication side. And again, one of the best examples is this new platform, saveablation.org, that many are distributing not only to their colleagues, but to their patients. It's been a very productive week. We continue to get deeper and deeper in, and there have been many letters from congressional members to CMS already. And Capitol Counsel continues to keep the pressure on to ask what these congressional offices are doing to follow up on these letters. It's never going to be a win until we get towards the end, and these next couple months are critical. And I'm very pleased on this week's Voices to be joined by Shannon Finley, our fearless representative in our lobbying DC-based firm, Capitol Counsel. Welcome to Heart Rhythm TV, Shannon.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
And we're so excited to be able to share a lot of the things that have been going on behind the scenes. I think it's great to see who's fighting for us in DC. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about who Capitol Counsel and what Capitol Counsel is.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm very proud to be one of the founding partners of Capitol Counsel, and my co-founding partner, Denise Henry, and I have been working on this effort ourselves directly. We are a bipartisan, bicameral firm that was founded really to work on healthcare and tax, the issues of jurisdiction of the Finance and Ways and Means committees. And we have a lot of very senior people who had very senior roles in those committees and in the administration. And we are really dedicated to taking care of provider issues. We represent a lot of physician specialty societies, the ophthalmologists, the dermatologists. We represent the Physician Advocacy Institute, which is 9 of the largest state medical societies. The emergency room physicians, we've done contract work for the cardiologists over the years. And, you know, this is really a sweet spot for our firm, and physician payment is something that we are monitoring and working on pretty much every day of the year. And it's a priority for our firm.
And I remember, Shannon, when we first got on with the task force with you, you had casually mentioned that there are some specialties that get cut maybe 5 or 10%, and they obviously get very, very invigorated and enraged. And I think you were struck by the extent to which these cuts were, targeting electrophysiology.
Absolutely. And the thing about physician payment is it's not just the one cut. You've got cuts from the RUC, you've got cuts from the, that come up, from MACRA and, other payment things that are moving around. And so, the sequester. And so all of these physician organizations are looking at the cumulative total of their cuts. I don't know anyone else that has the type of cumulative total. One of our clients has a 9.8% cumulative total cut. Compare that to yours. And for them, that's devastating. And, they're really panicked about physicians having to close their practices and what that means for the care they're able to provide in their communities, and what that means for rural communities and for people of color. And your issues are that times 10. So, it is really coming through in the meetings we're having that we're not the only ones that are struck by how great your cuts are and what they mean and the impact that could potentially have.
And this is an issue of preservation of our field, of access, of not amplifying disproportionate racial disparities, socioeconomic disparities. Tell us a little bit about how some of these meetings have gone. I know we've had a target of over 70 meetings over the next couple months. And I believe we've had many as we work feverishly, right, on the Hill.
Yep. I mean, the honest truth is you've not done this before and you've not had to. So, staffers don't know what ablation is. They don't know what EPs do. They don't understand these procedures. They don't understand the importance. And so once you go in and you do this work, you have to explain to them and you have to educate them. And so we're doing in a very short period of time the work for your society that we would have done over 6 months for someone else, to get them all up to speed and to do the work and get people really acquainted, not only with your issue, but with your specialty and with what this means to people's healthcare. So, you just have to think of the foundation we have to lay. If you think about, educating all of those offices to get people to support, to call CMS, we're going first to the offices of jurisdiction, people who are on the committees that oversee Medicare payment, and that's the Ways and Means Committee and the Finance Committee, as well as leadership in the House and the Senate, plus some of the Energy and the Energy and Commerce Committee as well in the House. These are the offices that are really important, but we're also trying to hit places where people are in tough campaigns, where people have been supporters of heart and stroke issues and bills in the past, where you have doctors that are close to members. So, it's a really broad path that we're cutting here. And so, it's very time consuming, especially, and we're working around physician schedules and all of your procedures, but we are making tremendous progress. If we don't get what we want in the revised rule from the final rule from CMS, we're going to have to come back to all of these offices and do this work and say, okay, now we need a fix in the end of the year legislation. And so this work we're doing is important, not just for the result with CMS, but it's important if we don't get the result we want from CMS. So while it's tremendously time consuming, and we're so grateful that so many physicians have taken precious time out of their schedules and away from their patients, and have been, our team is just amazed by the quality of and the passion that we've seen in the physicians participating. But, this work is foundational for the Heart Rhythm Society and for your profession. And, it will carry you through other battles that you may have, because there's lots more coming in payment.
And I do think that it deserves emphasis in the sense that we have not regularly engaged and gone to have regular lobbying meetings. The ACC has a political action committee. And as a fellow, I even went down there and had an annual meeting to talk about the value of cardiology. They already know it. They know us. Whereas this is all relatively new. And I think to have a partner with Capitol Counsel has been wonderful. And many have also gone to the table, talked to their congressional representatives, and then they'll say, oh, we'll follow up with the lobbying group that you're working with, which is really nice to show how everything is in concert. And there's so much that's complementary that the members need to understand that you're there every day.
We are there every day. And, some of these staffers we've worked with, I work for Chairman Bacchus, who was the previous chair of the Senate Finance Committee. A lot of these staffers were there when I worked for Chairman Bacchus. We've got Jeff Carroll on our team, who was the staff director of the Energy and Commerce staff. He worked with every single one of the members on the Energy and Commerce Committee. And so they're all friends. They're all people he knows. And so we're already talking to them about payment, what's going to happen at the end of the year. We're already talking to them about the conversations they're having with CMS about the final rule. So, it's really easy for us. It's shorthand. And that's why, having a lobbying firm often helps. We navigate, and, I like to say we're not only navigating you through the waters, we're also making sure that, you know, everything, all the baggage is unpacked as well. You know, like we're doing all of those other pieces.
Tell us a little bit about the targets and the targeted lobbying strategies that remain, you know, over the next month. I know that this is a critical month. Are there direct conversations that need to be had with HHS, with CMS themselves? Are there specific senators that are the ones that we really need to get to?
I think some really good things have happened. The meetings that have happened already with CMS, both, you know, from all of the various entities that are working on this issue have been really important. I think we've met with all of the right people. Now we're having those member offices of the people we're meeting with do several things. One, call CMS and call their friends over there. At, you know, there are various people there. There's a whole office of people dedicated, Leg Affairs, to answering congressional inquiries. So we're having them call over, making sure that the agency knows about the problems, about what they need to do. At the same time, we are following up ourselves with our friends and colleagues at CMS. But then we're having those members write letters and communicate in writing. We're working on having sign-on letters done. We have a few very good leads to have those letters done. Members of Congress don't operate under your timeline. So you had to have your comment letters in by September 6th. Their comment letters can be in anytime they want. Realistically, we expect CMS, so working back from the dates, we expect CMS to come out with a final rule sometime after the election and before Thanksgiving. So by mid-November. So you think back from that date, October will really be the month where we will have members calling and following up and seeing what's happened with the final rule. So we want to have by the end of September, early October, the letters in to CMS. So we have the official paper in, then they will start responding back. CMS will start responding back to those letters. And then from there, we will say, okay, call and follow up again, you know, so that we're keeping the pressure on from all of
And
these.
those are the letters from congressional representatives to CMS.
Yeah,
And then, and Capitol Counsel keeps nudging more follow-ups to in terms of what responses are there.
Yeah, you want them to feel aggravated and aggrieved, and, you know, hearing that there's a problem and they have to fix it, because they won't fix it on their own. They have no motivation to fix it on their own. You know, we presented very good case to them. I think that they were receptive maybe in the last meeting that folks had, or more receptive maybe, but it really is congressional pressure. And we will also follow up and work with the White House too, because, you know, the White House has made equity in healthcare one of their primary 6 objectives of their administration. And we know that this is going to be a political problem for them. So we're making sure that everyone who's involved in healthcare and in the White House knows about this looming problem. And, you know, we're sharing with them all of our letters, all of everything we're doing, so that they can see kind of a package of what it looks like and how much support there is, so that they're nudging the agency too. Nothing happens in a vacuum in Washington.
It's just that constant pressure, and that's why we have you there. Well, Shannon Finley, thank you so much for joining us on Hard Rhythm TV. Thank you for understanding our plight. Thank you for understanding the gravity of the situation, how drastic the cuts are. You've educated us and given us perspective that this is very drastic. And we do feel very empowered being with you, and we appreciate your partnership. And we look forward to some good news coming in the next couple months.
Fingers.
Thank you.